And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Greetings, I'm National Weather Service meteorologist Peter Chan with your Alaska Marine Weather Outlook. It is Saturday, June 1st, 2024, and this outlook is for Sunday on into Monday. And looking first at the sea ice on this Saturday afternoon, we have had certainly some melting finally here across the northern areas of the Bering Sea, with still a fair amount of ice out in locations southern side here of Norton Sound and to the north and east of St. Lawrence Island. Thing is, we're going to have some brisk northerly wind flow develop across this area as we go through Sunday night, Monday, and into Tuesday. So I would expect some of this ice to drift southward, because we're talking about sustained winds up around 30 knots at times. So that'll be enough to move that ice around. But otherwise, eventually we'll continue to see this slowly melt off as we move through and deeper into the month of June. So a couple weather systems impacting marine areas. We have a low that's just east of Kodiak Island. That's going to bring another round of some pretty good rainfall as we go through Sunday and into Monday. Another maybe 1 to 3 inches of rain around Kodiak City. And we have this weakening occluded front extending eastward from the low. As we go through time, though, there's going to be another low come up into this region, and that'll be a significant weather system here as we get into midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But the low out over the southwest corner of the Gulf will continue to gradually weaken by the time we get to Sunday afternoon. And here's the hint of that cold front coming down through the Chukchi Sea and Bering Strait. It'll be advancing southward as we go through the day on Sunday, and then by Monday, passing by early Monday, passing just south of St. Lawrence with brisk northerly winds, temperatures staying below normal, just below freezing along the Chukchi Sea coastline, northwest side of the Seward Peninsula, including areas like Savunga and Gamble. And again, the northwesterly flow will extend all the way down to the Aleutians, with that core of colder air arriving down this way later on Tuesday. So looking in the Gulf, here comes the next low. This will have some pretty good wind with it along the southern panhandle, outer coast of the panhandle, with another round of some moderate to locally heavy rain that's going to pull back to the northwest as we go through Tuesday and Wednesday. And eventually that moisture will cut up across the Alaska Range into the middle Yukon Valley Wednesday night and Thursday. So this system could bring as much as a third of an inch of rainfall to the Anchorage Bowl, which is pretty impressive considering the time of year and just the fact that normally this is typically is a drier time of year for South Central. But looking at the marine forecast here, wind and waves on Sunday, look for north winds, Lynn Canal, 2-foot waves. Northeast winds to 10 knots, Stevens Passage. Southeast winds to 25 knots could kick waves up 5 to 7 feet there in Dixon Entrance. South of Sitka, southeast winds to 25 knots, swells 9 to 10 feet. And then generally easterly winds 20 to 25 knots, Sitka to Gustavus falling off to 10 knots south of Yakutat Bay with swells 8 to 9 feet. Monday will be a quieter day, especially inner channels, variable winds around 5 knots, waves a foot or two. Southeast winds to 15 knots, 3-foot waves, Dixon Entrance, and then the outer coast. Southeast winds, south-southeast winds, Sitka southward with 5-foot swells, and then offshore flow out of Yakutat Bay, Cape Suckling, northeast to east winds at 15 knots. Along the northwest portion of the Gulf, we expect north winds within Prince William Sound, 2-foot waves on Sunday. Northeast winds, upper Cook Inlet, 3-4-foot waves. As we get down here toward the entrance of Cook Inlet, we're looking at north-northeast winds, 20 knots there from Anchor Point off of Homer. 30-knot winds, though, off the Kenai coast and coming in there toward the east side of Kodiak Island, along with the rain in this area, and swells 10 to 11 feet. For Monday, variable winds around 10 knots within Prince William Sound, upper Cook Inlet. We'll still have some winds 25 knots off the Kenai coastline and down to near the east side there of Kodiak Island with swells of 7 to 8 feet. Winds on Sunday around Kodiak Island, northeast winds to 30 knots, Shelikof Strait, waves as high as 10, 11 feet. 25-knot winds on the east side of the island. As we trail out down along the middle and lower Alaska Peninsula, variable winds just around 10 knots, waves 2 to 3 feet on the Bering side, And once you get south and southwest of Perryville and Sand Point, we expect waves there just 3 to 5 feet. And then on Monday, still northeast winds to 25 knots around Kodiak Island, but those winds will turn more west-northwesterly. As I mentioned, that colder shot of air, some stronger winds coming down across the eastern Aleutians. So we expect winds picking up to 25 to 30 knots there around Cold Bay Falls Pass on Monday. And then the Aleutian chain, fairly quiet on Sunday, variable winds to 10 knots, eastern Aleutians shifting more northwesterly, 15, then picking up 20 to 25 knots west of Adak. And on Monday, we find with that core of colder air dropping southward, winds will pick up around 25 to 30 knots eastern central Aleutians. And with that core of colder air, there could be some higher waves in this region as a result. And then along the southwest and west coast, north winds out of Bristol Bay, northwest winds to 20 knots in Kuskokwim Bay, but winds are picking up now with that surge of colder air beginning to head southward. Off the lower Yukon coast, north of Nunavik Island, south of St. Lawrence, and in the vicinity of St. Matthew, 25 to 30 knot northerly winds Sunday afternoon. And those winds pick up 30 to 35 knots along the southwest coast, Kuskokwim Bay, out towards St. Matthew, St. Paul, with swells along the coast 6-7 feet, as much as 9 to 11 feet there, St. Matthew down through the Pribilofs, and a north wind within Norton Sound to 25 knots. Through the Bering Strait, north side of St. Lawrence on Sunday, we see winds 35 to 40 knot northerly gales, because this is where that front's going to be pushing through on Sunday afternoon. In the wake of it, winds turn northeasterly north of Point Lay up to Utqiagvik, falling off to 15 knots there along the central Arctic coast. And then for Monday, we look at northeast to north winds along the Arctic coast, 10 to 20 knots, and then down through the lower Chukchi Sea, still brisk northerly winds, 30 knots, passing through the Bering Strait onto the north side of St. Lawrence Island, where there is not ice in place. You're looking at some wave action of 5 to 7 feet, and any remnant ice will have a tendency to want to drift southward with this type of northerly wind flow.